Yeah, actually, you're actually. Do you want to jump in the pool for us just to prove
Sit
that
in
it's
the
Yeah,
live?
it's,
Give us a
pool.
cannonball.
Welcome to Center Cup. I'm Kyle Lucerino, joined as always by Will Neary and Nick Newmeyer, and we've got a preview day today. We will take a quick look at the Zurich Classic, look at some pairings there, what we think is interesting, and then do a little deeper dive of the LPGA Tour Chevron Championship down in Houston, Texas. But first, let's start with a little bit of recent news. So, like we talked about on Monday's pod, we did hear Brian Rolapp confirm that the PGA Tour is going to explore potential pathways for LIV guys seeking return to the tour. So that's something to follow. Kind of, we touched on that in Monday's episode and kind of expected that. So nothing surprising there. But we did also see official confirmation that the PGA Tour has confirmed that the Hawaii events will not be on the calendar for 2027. I know Nick and Will both kind of anticipated that happening, but what did you guys think about the official statement?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's not surprising. We've been hearing this since the beginning of the season, but it's just unfortunate. I think, we've started the season in Hawaii at the Century, or just at Kapalua rather, every year since 1999. And it's really became like the 18th hole at Kapalua is probably one of the more iconic tee shots in all of golf, I would say. And I think it's always been a great course. It's been a great tournament. Hasn't really worked out. It's one of the few events that, is in our houses in, the central region, Central Eastern Time in prime time, which makes it difficult in January to fight with the NFL playoffs. So overall, I understand like it's a business. They're trying to do everything with a massive time zone difference. I get it, but I'm not happy about it.
yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I think when we talked about this initially in like our first or second podcast episode, when Brian Rolapp made that like sweeping statement about what to expect with changes to the schedule going forward, I think I was more upset then than I am now. The more I've sat with this, I agree with you. I think like I wish this didn't make total sense. Logistically from the PGA Tour business perspective, this is the right move, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Um, like we talked about, like you said, the NFL, like conflicting with the NFL schedule is something that literally every other league tries to avoid at all costs. Um, so obviously that's one of the reasons, but you also just, there's a variety of reasons that we've gone through and talked about yesterday as well. I think the one thing I will say, honestly, for a little more detail, that like Sony is in the last year of their sponsorship deal. It seems like that'll transition to a Champions Tour event, which is okay. The Century has a deal through 2035, so the likelihood there is that they'll take over title sponsorship for another event. I think we might have talked about this in January as well, but one that's been rumored is that they might, be a decent replacement for the Farmers Insurance title sponsor at Torrey Pines, which honestly I think like my one take from all this is that if we were able to keep it the Century Tournament of Champions and kick off the year with the Century Tournament of Champions at Torrey Pines, that's kind of sick.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Like
be
to be
opposed to
honest,
that.
that would be pretty awesome. I think the one thing, it's kind of fun to open the tournament at Kapalua because it's such a birdie, or the year, sorry, at Kapalua because it's such a birdie fest, and you get to like immediately watch dudes just like going super low, which is a really fun way to start off the PGA Tour season. And you wouldn't necessarily get that at Torrey Pines, but like to see the the year kickoff with all of the best golfers on the PGA Tour who won the year before at a really, really storied course like Torrey Pines would be awesome. So if we're able to shake things out in that kind of way where it makes a little bit more sense and doesn't like really sacrifice that tournament of champions feel that opens the season, because I do love that, then I'm not going to be particularly mad at any of these developments, to be honest. I think it all kind of makes sense, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think, the one thing that makes a lot of sense as well is that you look at the fields, like obviously it got a little bit better when it became a signature event and they opened it up to like anybody who qualified for the tour championship and all that. But in the years prior, well, I feel like one thing Tiger Woods mentioned when talking about like what was different from this schedule than the one before is that he mentioned that in that like November, December, January, a lot of players were playing in, South Africa, Asia, Australia, Europe. Like the European tour was where it was at. And, that is still going on. You look at, Rory McIlroy famously never played Kapalua because he's in Dubai for the DP World Tour Championship. Shane Lowry, Tommy Fleetwood, even Colin Morikawa plays there. So you don't see you see a lot of the top players that are qualified for Kapalua not play there year after year, which also kind of saturates the field a little bit more. And so I don't think the tour necessarily is competing with the DP World Tour, but that does play a bit of an aspect in it as well.
Yeah, I mean that seemed like pretty much the consensus from everybody. Hearing the reaction was sad to see it go, not surprised, and logistically just makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, let's talk a little Zurich Classic real quick. Will, I know you wanted to talk about some pairings. I'm sure you'll talk about Neil Shipley and Christo Lamprecht,
It's on my
but
list. It's on my
but
list.
you go and take what you want.
Yeah, to first just like we're not going to spend a ton of time on the Zurich, especially with the Chevron going on this week. Obviously, the more important of the two events. The Zurich is like the one team event on the regular schedule of the PGA Tour. And you were just talking about the players that typically show up at the Century. It's not a great field, the Zurich. Two of the top 25 in OWGR are there. It's Matt Fitzpatrick and Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin, obviously defending champion from last year. Matt Fitzpatrick, for all intents and purposes, doing a favor to Alex Fitzpatrick by being here. Maybe that's being a little cruel, but at the same time, I mean, it's a great opportunity for two brothers to play together. Obviously, that's an awesome, awesome thing. But it is a very weak field. The cool thing with it is that I think like the one storyline that's fun to follow some years is that all the winners still do get that like 2 year winners exemption to the PGA Tour, which obviously for Alex Fitzpatrick is a huge deal. If I mean he's fairly well positioned on the DP World Tour right now after winning, but um it would be a huge deal if he and Matt Fitzpatrick win. Alex Fitzpatrick gets that 2 year exemption. So that's kind of the storyline to follow. Obviously, Alex Fitzpatrick isn't the only guy chasing that. There's a lot of people doing it. I think my main take for this also translates to the rider at literally any team event we do. I hate like with a passion that they call it four ball and foursomes and just instead of just calling it best ball and alternate shot. I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's like what it is. That's what everybody knows it as. I don't there's not even you're not playing four balls, by the way. Like the first and third round in this tournament are four ball, sorry, which is best ball, which means both players play out the hole and then you take the best score. There's two players. I don't know what the four balls are coming from. It's idiotic. And
Well, it's
every
two
year,
and two, right?
well, yes, but no, but I
So
yes, but
technically four balls.
four balls are in play, but your team is playing two balls, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But for some reason, it like always is a struggle for me because I always have to Google which one is which every single year, every single event. I did it at the Ryder Cup last year. I'm like four ball foursome. Okay, I don't quite remember. Foursome being alternate shot also makes no sense, but that's whatever. Um, but anyways, the first and third rounds are best ball or four ball, and the second and fourth rounds are foursome, which is alternate shots. But you also like alternate tee shots. I don't know. I have a big problem with that. I think they should just call it the regular thing that everybody calls it. Um, but yeah, other than that, I mean, it's a fun event, but it is not a particularly meaningful one other than the 2 year PGA Tour exemption. And the winners do get exemption into the PGA Championship too, which is something to watch. But not for the US Open or the 2027 Masters because those only do like full FedEx Cup point total events, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, there's some interesting ones in the field. I mean, I know the Fitzpatricks are the ones that are going to be getting the headline for sure. Like they are favorited this week. They are the I mean, nobody's like an outstanding favorite the way we've seen Scotty Scheffler be, but yeah, the Fitzpatricks are the top of the odds boards. So I don't know if you want to talk about them at all, Nick. I know those are your boys. Our boys, really, Wildcats, but
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely been coming around to Matt Fitzpatrick over the last few months. He's definitely someone that has caught my eye as just a very good. I don't know. Did you guys see that video they posted? We're recording this on Tuesday, so yesterday being Monday. Did you guys see that video they posted of like the behind the scenes of like him and his wife riding on the cart to scoring?
No, what was it? I
It
did
was it
not
was
see it.
like the pair of them like mic'd up, like discussing the rounds, like just talking about her experience being there and like just waving to people, just like talking for like 3 minutes, like unfiltered, unscripted, basically on the way to scoring. It was interesting, it's nothing groundbreaking, but just a good glimpse behind the curtain as well. Definitely just seems like a good dude to root for. But
Yeah,
I do,
he's come off really well here in the last few days. Just seems like a
Yeah.
normal good guy.
yeah.
Well, his response to the USA chants that we talked about yesterday too, like all that stuff, yeah, he's coming off quite well.
Exactly. And so I will ding you for what you said about Alex Fitzpatrick there. And I think
You think it's mean to say that Matt Fitzpatrick is?
well, okay. It is not wrong, but it is mean. I think
Yeah, that's fair.
what was
That's fair.
Both
it?
can be true.
20 was it 2023 Full Swing? Was it the first or second season of Full Swing where they talked to like the Fitzpatrick
Oh, when
brothers
Alex
and
qualified for the Open, I think that was 23.
yeah, and so they played the Zurich in the episode, and like the one thing that was like the big storyline was that Alex was, I'm not just here for like a charity like sponsors exemption. Like I do want to belong here. I want to get the PGA Tour card. And so I think in 2023, yeah, it's probably a bit of a charity if I'm being honest. But you look at what Alex Fitzpatrick's done this year, and he
Just
is.
one.
Yeah, he just won. So he's not it I think to say that he doesn't belong here is I'm not saying you did, but to say that he doesn't belong in this field, like yes, he would not be in this field if not for Matt Fitzpatrick, but I certainly wouldn't say he doesn't belong in this field.
I think my point is more that Matt Fitzpatrick would not be in this field if not for Alex Fitzpatrick. Like Matt
Yeah, actually,
Fitzpatrick kind
yes,
of
I
has
will
no
I will
business
give you
being here.
that. Yeah, that is kind of like a random
Just like, oh, the number three player in the world is at the Zurich Classic. All right, like sure. It's
yeah.
like kind
The
of
week
like
after he
when,
won.
yeah. I mean, it's not the same, but it's similar to when like Rory and Shane played together and won it 2 years ago. And that wasn't Rory doing like a charity case to Shane, it's just because they're best buds. But like without Shane Lowry, Rory would not be in the field of the Zurich, right?
Right,
Like, and he's
right.
not this year, which brings me to another weird pairing if we're good because Shane Lowry's playing with Brooks Koepka, which I
That is
don't understand at
interesting.
all. Like,
Very
don't get where
interesting.
that came from. I refuse to believe that they're buds. That makes no sense to me. Maybe they are. It kind
It,
of, I don't know.
it's easily the most intriguing pairing.
Yeah, well, especially because like they're the second favorites, that like again, there's not that many great players like in this event. And just like I feel like they were just like, okay, I don't know, we can probably win this, right? Like let's
Yeah.
like just like looked at it, they pointed at each other like that guy's pretty good, I guess. I don't
Who
know.
was it? Was it Webb Simpson that would just like grab the highest ranked player that would want to play? Like I know he took like Jordan Spieth in 2017. I know he's played it might not be Webb, but I know it was one player that like would was notorious for just like picking like the highest ranked player that would agree to play with him. Like he would just like go down the list of OWGR and be like, "Hey, do you want to play?" And like would always just come with like the highest ranked player every single year. I
I don't
don't
know.
I
I
I, I
think
think it was Webb Simpson, but
I think you, Kyle, you're right that Shane Lowry and Brooks Koepka is easily the most intriguing one. The weirdest one to me is Cam Davis and Jeff Ogilvy. I don't know how that came about. Jeff Ogilvy's 48. I don't know how he's here. And Cam Davis is how old is Cam Davis? He can't be more than like 28, 31. Sorry, Cam Davis is 31. I just don't understand where that pairing came from. Jeff Ogilvy's the most recent. He's been on the European Tour, T65 of the Crown Australian Open in on December 7th. This is his last PGA Tour start, or not PGA Tour, his last professional golf start. So don't really know how Cam Davis decided on Jeff Ogilvy to be his partner here. Maybe they have really complementary games. No idea. I mean,
yeah, it
are they
was
both Australian? Yeah.
quick side note, it was Ryan Palmer, not Webb
Oh,
Simpson.
who was the
He's
one who'd always take the top?
He paired with John Rahm. He won with John Rahm in 2019. He's paired with Scotty, with Jordan.
Wow.
Um, he's just been grabbing the
Just
highest player and
throw
just running with it.
throw Jordan in there as the highest player
It
available.
was
It
just
was
a
like
way for
Just a
Nick to
little
bring
it
him
a
was
up.
like
little clout.
27. It was 2017 when he did it. Give me a break.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, there's other than that, I don't know. Did you guys have any crazy pairings? I know, Kyle, I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out like the extremes of the human physique pairing that is Neil Shipley and Christo Lamprecht. Pretty sure Christo's like 6'8" and Neil Shipley is Neil Shipley. We'll see how that pans out. I really don't know. They could go great.
Just hoping he makes a cut.
Yeah, we are gonna let this count for fantasy golf just to give you a little hope.
Yeah.
If you
I
miss
do
the
want to
cut at
say
the Zurich, man, like what are you
it's
doing?
tough. It's tough. There
He's
is
only
it.
made one all year.
Yeah, it's not great.
Well,
I don't
after
know.
after seeing the field, I'm not surprised with the whole Smiley Kaufman invite thing. I'm
I
like,
was
oh no,
just
Yeah,
about
that
to
that
mention
makes a
that.
little more
Yeah.
sense. It makes a little more
yeah.
sense now.
It was Ryan Gerard that reached out to Smiley Kaufman.
Yeah, so it was Ryan Gerard that was supposed to play with fellow UNC member Davis Ford, and
Mm,
then Davis Ford, no longer in the field, reached out to Smiley Kaufman apparently. Actually, I don't know if he reached out to Smiley because um, Smiley showed the screenshot of the text and was like, "Do you know anybody that would be interested in playing?" And Smiley's like, "Oh, I would be interested." Like, I don't think he specifically said like, "Yo, Smiley, let's run it up," but not we are not seeing Smiley Kaufman in the field this week. However entertaining that would be, we will not be seeing him in the field. He is instead paired with Sudarshan Yalmaraju, which will be
goat.
interesting as well. Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say even better. That'll be it's been Sudarshan's time to shine for a while now. So I'm ready to see what he could do. This is the perfect tournament for him to sort of like break out
Yeah.
and I'd love to see it. I think another good one that I have my eye on is the young guns of Luke Clanton and Blades Brown.
Yeah. I really like that one.
That'll be a really interesting one. Blades was it T2 last week, Corn Ferry?
Solo second. Yeah.
Solo second. Yeah, there we go. And so in form, definitely like Luke
Yeah.
Clanton, hasn't really taken that step that we thought he was going to, but
But he was good at the Puerto Rico, right? I think that was when he and Gordon Sargent were my prove me wrongs, whatever week that was, some side week that they played. They were both like T top 15 or 20, I think. So you never
yeah,
know.
that's
Maybe
right.
at a smaller event like this, he can jump up. I do want to you mentioned this is a good event for Sudarshan to like really show up and like get on a run here. I do just want to like shout out that that is exactly what happened to Ben Griffin last year when he won with Andrew Novak. It's like
Yeah.
this was his first win of last year, and then he proceeded to also win the Charles Schwab T8 at the PGA, and then go on his that run where he was second at the Memorial, 10th at the U.S. Open, 14th at the Travelers, 13th at the Rocket. Obviously, was a part of the Ryder Cup team and then ended up with another win in FedEx Cup Fall too. So it is a thing that has happened before. Sudarshan would not be the first to do that.
And you know what I saw? Like I was listening to the No Laying Up podcast last night, and one thing they mentioned was just like looking at the Zurich of what as they said, it is um, or it is the only team play aspect, which helps some of these young guys like kind of boost their case for both President's Cup and Ryder Cup, like just captains, but gives them the team experience, so to speak. This is one question that they said this has nothing to do with the Zurich right now, but this is just a really interesting question that I heard them say, and with the team aspect, it made me think, will Jackson Koiven be on the 2027 Ryder Cup team?
No, I don't think so. I think that's like exactly the kind of well, it depends. It really depends. I mean, my initial instinct would be to say no, and that you'd want to get him on a President's Cup team first. So assuming he's not on this year's President's Cup team, which I don't think he can be.
No, I don't
Um,
think so.
yeah, so I think like my preference would be to get him onto the 2028 President's Cup team and then the 2029 Ryder Cup ideally. But that being said, like if this translates, like continues, I mean, he's a junior right now. He technically could go back for his senior season.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
so I think it really depends on that. But obviously it depends on that. But if he like goes to the PGA Tour again, he has that exemption through the PGA Tour U like accelerated program or whatever, and plays well, like I mean, that's probably the kind of guy you want, right? Like
Yeah,
to
exactly.
but you want those young guys. I would like to see him in a President's Cup first, but you know, what was your opinion, Nick, when you heard it?
I mean, it was a thought that I've never really even considered, which is why I even bring it up in the first place. But I thought it was interesting, first and foremost. I thought it really, I don't want to put so much pressure on this kid before he becomes a full-time PGA Tour player. I think that's just setting him up for failure. That being said, I could absolutely see him just like balling out as soon as he
Yeah.
starts and playing his way onto the team.
Yeah. I mean, the safe bet is obviously no. I mean, like the PGA Tour U accelerated graduate that comes to mind is Luke Clanton. Like he's another guy who graduated from that program when he was before he was a senior, came out to the PGA Tour, and like you said, like we saw some really good results from him early and have not really seen that translate consistently. So it's like the safe bet is no, because odds are that Jackson Coivin's not going to show up on the PGA Tour and just like blow everybody away.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like if he decides to take that exemption and plays well, then I think that's, obviously the US needs to kind of change their strategy a little bit. I think going for young guns is a great idea. I just personally think that like if it pans out well enough that you can get him on a President's Cup team first, I think that's better.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
2029 is a wait. That's 3 years away. Like that's
I
tough to try to
know.
wait till 2029 if you've got a guy that's playing that well.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we'll see. I have yet to watch Full Swing and just see
I haven't either.
how I'm a little pissed that they shortened it to 4 episodes, if I'm gonna be honest. But it sounds like it's gonna be very Ryder Cup centric. And they were talking about it in the laying up, just talking about it was very much like going through Keegan's mindset and how he prepared. I don't want to get too much into I don't want to like distract from everything, but yeah, I think you got to switch something up for 2027. We don't even have a fucking captain yet when it comes
Yeah.
to like, I think that's just the fact that we don't have one and Luke Donald is already in Ireland, like scouting the course, and we don't even have a captain. Like, that's
It's a
embarrassing.
little try hard out
And
of McDonald. I'd like him to reel that
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
go
You're a
Cats.
year and a
Just
half away, brother.
taking a vacation.
Yeah.
No, but like,
It's like, no, I
we,
have to do an all expenses paid trip to Adair Manor. I need
oh
it. It's for the
no.
team.
But yeah, we can go on and on about the Ryder Cup. That is not
Yeah,
why we are here though.
we got time.
Let's I think this is the perfect segue, I guess, to what we are here to talk about is the first major of the LPGA season at the Chevron.
Yeah,
Oh,
back at Memorial Park.
Yeah, we are back. We saw this is where Gary Woodland had his
Hmm.
emotional victory. Obviously riding off a high on this course. We had such a great tournament there last time around. I have a kiddie pool behind me. Should I
You
get into
do.
that?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, explain it.
so the backstory behind this, there's been a long-standing tradition at the Chevron where the winner jumps into. So the Chevron used to be hosted
Mission Hills Country Club
at Mission
for like
Hills,
50
exactly.
years.
Where is it? I have the full. Oh yeah. So it used to be at Mission Hills. Um, some people like it, some people don't. But it was moved in 2023 and 2025 to the club at Carlton Woods, where there was also water on the 18th hole. And so it became this
Pretty.
long-standing tradition
Did you see
to,
that they in the story they mentioned that they had to have a gator net at Carlton Woods for like because it was
yeah,
gross water. They had to like have a little
yeah.
gator net installed to make sure the players were safe when they jumped in, or not
I
they, when
mean,
the winner jumped in.
that's funny first and foremost. But so obviously Memorial Park does not have water on 18. At the moment, they're working to renovate the course to potentially add water on 18. But their fix for the meantime was to install this beautiful kiddie pool behind me that is only about 4 feet deep. So I don't think anybody's gonna go like full-fledged cannonball into this. But
What I'm picturing, Nick, is that photo. I forget who it was. You're an F1 fan, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. The like starfish flop into the pool. Is it Monaco? Into the
uh-huh,
pool at
yeah,
Monaco. That's exactly what I'm picturing. That's what the Chevron champion needs to do this year. I want to see them like teetering on the edge and then arms
full-on
out,
belly
full
flop.
belly flop into the pool. I think that's the only way to
So
approach a kiddie pool like that.
here's my question when it comes to how they're portraying this is so like the green is right behind me. So like the kiddie pool is theoretically in play. on
Yeah.
18. Is it a water hazard or is it a man-made obstruction which will get free
Ooh,
relief?
I feel like they should make it a man-made obstruction.
You
Water
would
hazard
think,
feels
right?
cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah. To make a
Un
kiddie pool a water hazard, that's no
Unless they
fun.
like add the red stakes. If they like I wouldn't be opposed, but it also
If it's like
wouldn't
a
be there if they didn't add it there.
if it's like a
So,
4 foot by 10 foot kiddie pool, it should be a man-made obstruction. We can't have
yeah.
that be a water hazard.
Yeah. It'd be
But
really funny if it was, but
I think it's a little, I mean, crazy is the wrong word. I guess I don't know necessarily if this, 18th hole renovation with introducing a water hazard short right of the green was in any way planned before the Chevron move to Memorial Park. But
mhm.
adding a water hazard like that specifically so that you can maintain the tradition that Amy Alcott started 40 years ago of jumping into the pool or jumping into the water is a little wild. I mean, awesome. Like I like it, and it'll make Memorial Park even more interesting. They have water on 16 and 17, so why not 18? But uh, it's bold to reno an entire golf hole at like a championship level course for the traditional jump in the water.
I would agree. Yeah. I mean, I think first off, I think it is really cool as we've seen um just the conversations this week of, just the existence of live in general, just like shitting on every single tradition in the game of golf. And then you have the PGA moving away from one of its long-standing traditions, opening the season at Kapalua. To see the LPGA go out of its way to preserve one of ther traditions, I think is
I like it.
especially in the context of global golf right now, I think it's incredibly respectable.
It's a great thing. I'm just like surprised that they did it, to
Yeah,
be honest.
absolutely.
Like, um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see it's unclear. Obviously, you mentioned, Nick, that it was hosted at Mission Hills Country Club for 50 years before going to the club at Carlton Woods for 3 years. I don't know how long, if there's a specific length on the contract for Memorial Park, although obviously the inclusion of the water hazard on 18 would indicate that it's going to be there for a long time. So I'm just going to say the foreseeable future.
Right.
Um, but Memorial Park's fun. I don't know, to get into a little bit of the course. I mean, we talked a ton about it before the Texas Children's Houston Open. It's a little different. I mean, it's a par 72 for this event. It was a par 70 on the PGA Tour. The changes are the hole 1 and hole 14, which are now playing as par fives. So we've got five par fives and
That'll be
five par
interesting.
threes to go along with the eight par fours. But yeah, the Chevron has played really long, and will continue to do so. I mean, it's the typical. I mean, this is a very broad range, but like the typical LPGA event, including some of the major championships like the Women's Open, and the Evian, typically play around like 6,300 to 6,600. This is going to be at 6,800. Last year it was 6,900 when it was at the club at Carlton Woods. So obviously that would indicate that it favors longer hitters. I think the interesting thing that they did too is I actually didn't know they were doing this until I read it like a couple hours ago. I saw that they grew the rough up an inch longer than it was for the PGA Tour. So it
Mhm.
was 1.5 inches for the PGA, and it's going to be 2.5 for the LPGA, which is like a pretty significant difference when you also think about club head speed differences. Like
Yeah, that is true.
growing it up another inch and another inch, especially because 1.5 inches is well, in some ways it's really respectable, but in terms of rough on a golf course, it's not particularly long, and 2.5 inches is a decent bit more. Is a decent bit more. So that'll be interesting to see. I imagine that makes it a pretty good balance of like accuracy and distance. Again, it's kind of hard to like fully preview the course fit stuff without having seen the women play it. Um, so this will kind of be like a guinea pig event just to see like what really fits. But obviously, like we talked about for the men, it's long hitters, maybe a little bit more accuracy for the LPGA with that grown up rough, but also good putting is kind of the main things here.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad you mentioned the rough. I'm really excited to see that. I think, where we saw the PJ, the rough was essentially a non-factor in Houston. Like
Yeah,
it was borderline like hitting it on the rough was like almost the essential of like teeing the ball up. Like it was almost
yeah,
like sitting up in the rough. It gave them such a almost a better lie than on the fairway. And so I'm really interested to see the rough like actually play a toll. I think, it's a major, it's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to test you. And so I'm ready to see a bit I'm ready to see Memorial Park show its teeth a little bit more than it did. You know, we were all happy Gary won, like it was very nice and wholesome, and we were all happy. But let's get down and dirty here and let's show its teeth this week.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I think I struggle to see anybody winning who's not like, top six in the world. Like I think
Yeah, I
it's
do
just
agree
gonna
with
be
that.
tough. Like
Yeah.
I was trying to go through and be like, okay, who are some long shots that I like? And like some of them fit, but I'm like, yeah, but are they gonna really is like are Nelly Korda, Gino Titakun, like Hyoju Kim, Hannah Green, are they really gonna like fall back and not be in competition here? Like, no,
Right.
it's really hard to believe that. But
I mean, getting into it, I think, Gino, like specifically, hasn't really done much of anything since Thailand.
yeah, well, Kyle mentioned like, a while ago, and he can talk to it a little bit, is just like how emotional a win that was. I mean, obviously, Gino is Thai, and starting off the season with a huge win in Thailand, and now, I don't want to say I don't put like much stock in the fact that she hasn't done well, because like you mentioned, Nick, like since that win, she hasn't been inside the top 10 on the LPGA tour. But like, I also think like a major is a totally different conversation.
Right.
Kind of think she's going to be in different form. I don't know.
I think to a lesser degree, like, you know, she's almost like the LPGA's Scotty Scheffler in the sense that, she won or that he won the Amex and then cooled off and did like looked like he was going to dominate after the Amex, but then just like cooled off and didn't really, obviously is finishing higher, but hasn't really made that breakthrough until the first major of the year where he kind of just reclaimed himself at the Masters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised to see something similar to that. It's just got to be a reset. She honestly hasn't even played a ton since that win in Thailand too. So you've got to think she's kind of gearing up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just kind of going down the list as well, Nelly Korda, number two player in the world, 82nd in strokes gained putting, which is interesting. And,
Yeah.
obviously one of the better drivers of the ball, if, distance wise, accuracy maybe leaves a little bit to desire, but,
I did see that when she's inaccurate, she has the highest green and regulation percentage when she misses the fairway. I think her green and reg percentage when she misses the fairway is 71%, which is first of all outrageous,
yeah, that's
but
absurd.
leads the LPGA tour by like 2%. Obviously, dependent on the rough, dependent on all sorts of stuff. On shorter courses, that's easier because she's got a wedge in her hand all the time. But just like purely from a green and reg, like when you miss the fairway percentage, obviously, I don't think she is that worried about missing fairways. I do want to
Yeah.
say that like when we're looking at like Gino Titakun compared to Nelly Court, obviously, Hyoju Kim, actually no, Hyoju Kim did win one, but Gino Titakun, like despite being the world number one, is one of the only people on the list that we're going to talk about here who hasn't won a major.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's part of that is because she's very young. But as world number one, when you're trying to knock off your first major against people like Nelly Korda, who obviously won the Chevron in 2024 for her second major title. Hyoju Kim, obviously it was a while ago, but she did win the 2014 Evian when it was her first major championship appearance, I think. Hannah Green won the Women's PGA in 2019. Like even when you go down the list, like there's a lot of major winners that are going to be inevitably near the top of this leaderboard. I don't think that's going to be a huge issue for Gino, but like it is something to consider, like trying to knock off your first one in a field of like some really, really talented golfers who have done it before. It's kind of tough, but
Can I interrupt this major conversation for 1 second with some breaking
uh-oh,
news?
what happened?
LIV Golf has announced
Oh, oh,
Smash GC is rebranding to OKGC with
oh
Oklahoma resident
God.
Taylor Gooch serving as captain.
Whoa. The Goochmeister is the captain? That
Asterisks
rocks.
not needed.
Well, oh, what a transition because she is in the field at the Chevron though.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We
she
got
is
so
needed at the
many
Chevron.
we got so many good amateurs in the field.
Stanford's showing out again like they did at the Annual.
Absolutely. I think probably the biggest one that I've seen is that the Big Ten championships start on Friday. The reigning champion is not in the field to defend her title. Oregon's Kiara Romero
Yeah.
is foregoing her title defense and will be giving up her last ever Big Ten championships to play in the Chevron, which I think is just really cool. I think she has 14 points in in their amateur series. I believe you need 20 for a card if I'm correct.
That makes sense. It's the same for the PGA Tour that you need 20 points.
Yeah, and so I believe she has 14 at the moment. And so she'll be looking to sort of like boost up her resume. Asterix Talley, who famously collapsed at the Augusta National Women's Amateur, is back in the field, as we said. We got Farrah O'Keefe, Shauna Liu making her major championship debut. Yunseo Yang finished T4 at the Anwa as well. And then, of course, as Will mentioned, Stanford. When isn't Stanford represented in the women's golf game? You have Paula Martin San Pedro, who finished ninth, Andrea Revuelta, who finished in second, and then Megan Ganne looking to sort of wash the taste of the Anwa out of her mouth with the miscut that she had. Really one of the more surprising results of the week, but obviously, she's an amateur champion. She's the reigning U.S. Women's Amateur Champion. Definitely someone that, I would have my eye on in the field. I'm not saying she's going to win, but I think if there's anybody that can put the missed cut at the end well behind her, I would definitely have her on the list as well.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen like one thing I wouldn't be surprised to see, honestly, is like Astra's tally go low again, at least like,
Absolutely.
to open out the tournament. We know she can make a ton of birdies and she hits the ball a mile. So like this is not a course that is going to be, particularly extra penalizing to her. If anything, she's a pretty good course fit here. And like I was saying, like she just can make a ton of birdies and you never know
If you
where
can
she
light up
might find
Augusta
herself.
National, if you can light up Augusta
Exactly.
National, you're going to light it up anywhere.
Yeah. So that'll definitely be interesting to watch. This might not be a crazy thing, but just when I was reading through this, the some of the media stuff on the LPGA Tour's media site, this kind of shocked me, and maybe it shouldn't. But I'll give you guys a quiz first. How many people do you think are making their major championship debut on the LPGA at this event?
What's the field size? Do I get that hint?
You should get that hint if I can find it quickly. One second. I can tell you, but I don't know what the regular amount would be. So maybe this is like a really, really bad little trivia question. What is the field size at the Chevron? I'm guessing it's like 100. I think I know it's like more than 80 or so. It's 132 players for the 2026 Chevron Championship.
I'm going to say 37.
How about the way you're phrasing it? I think it's low. I'm going to say like 10.
It's five,
Wow.
which is
Wow.
nuts. I think
And is
that's
it only the
crazy. I
amateurs?
No, there's three amateurs. The only two other ones, and I'm doing my best with pronunciation here, are Carla Tejeda Mule and Suvichaya Vinny Chaitham. There are two professional golfers make, which is crazy to me, I think. Maybe again, like maybe this is more of a standard thing, especially at major championships on the LPGA, but that does seem, yeah, 132 players. That's like nobody. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it's like,
wonder. I wonder if it's just the LPGA, just because you have so many women professionals who like are in it from an earlier age. So
yeah.
you just have that. It's just slightly lower than you'd expect it to be on like a PGA major.
Well, yeah, I mean, like we said, like if we look at, I had this up a second ago, so give me 2 seconds, but like Gino Titakun, for example, is how old is she? She's 23. But if you look at her major championship record, she's been playing major championships since 2017, which was
Yeah.
9 years ago when she was 14. So obviously she's an extreme example, but that's probably true. Like, so there are a lot of like the talented amateurs in the women's golf field do get a lot of major championship experience, it seems to me.
That's really good. That's probably one of the better things that the LPGA does. And so, or not the LPGA, whatever the governing body for.
Yeah, that's true. For the
Um,
Right.
Chevron, etc.
but I think, just getting those stars to the point where, I, and granted, maybe this is because I followed the game a little bit closer when Northwestern won their first ever national championship in 2026. Hello, or 2025, excuse me. But at the
They're
same
winning their
time,
second in 2026.
exactly. And so I spoke it into existence just now. I've spoken.
There you go.
But I guess maybe that's just because I followed the game a little closer, like as I was watching that. But I feel like I feel outside of like Jackson Coiven, I feel like I have a better experience, no, or just better knowledge of the women's amateur game over the men's, just because I feel like there's more exposure.
I think that's
For
true. I
sure.
also think part of that, at least for me, I mean, you, Nick, like you said, have more experience following the women's amateur game. I think for me, the reason I'd probably agree with you right now is just because the ANWA just happened.
Yeah, exactly.
And we haven't had male amateur events yet. Like we haven't had the USAM, which we haven't had on the women's circuit either, obviously. But that is there is really no ANWA equivalent, I don't think, on the men's amateur circuit. It's really the USAM and stuff like that.
There's a
Otherwise, it's just a
few. I think there's an event in the Bahamas over December, I think. But
okay.
other than that, there's nothing.
And it doesn't get
Nothing
nearly as much publicity as the ANWA, obviously.
exactly. Yeah, there's nothing. Nothing compares to that.
Yeah, so I think that's part of it, but I do tend to agree. Uh they do take a larger percentage of like the women's golf spotlight than like amateurs do than amateurs do in the men's field, I guess,
Yeah,
is the what I'm trying to
I'd
say.
agree. But yeah, just looking through the list of some other like obviously, it's hard to dispute. Nelly Korda hasn't finished lower than T2 in 4 starts this season, which
So
is
stupid.
insane to me. She's
Yeah.
absolutely due. You can't count her out. Hannah Green, one of the best golfers on the planet as well. 4 wins in last five
Yeah.
starts. Like I knew it
Yep.
was good. I know we've been
Well, because
talking
you
about her lately, but that's the first
yeah.
time I'm reading this. Like that is
We did
incredible.
shout out her ladies European tour. She is 2 for 2 on the ladies
Oh,
European tour in
I
2026. So her
see.
last, and they were both in Australia. Obviously, she's an Aussie. I believe it was the ladies European tour. Yeah, she won the last 2 events. It was 2 Australian events, like the women, the WPGA Australia and the Women's Open Australia. Pretty much were the 2 events that she just played in one.
Yeah, that is insane. Like the Vegas is telling you to bet the house on Hannah Green.
Yeah,
There's
and
Surprised her odds are so low.
I know, and she's yeah. I will say she's not like I mean, again, course fit things here are like so hard to do because I don't know. We haven't seen the women actually play this course.
right.
She is the best putter on the LPGA according to like strokes gained putting. But her distance and accuracy off the tee leave a lot to be desired. But also she's won 4 of her last 5 starts, so I'm pretty willing to be like I don't really care. But yeah, like you were saying, Kyle, she's what, seventh in these odds behind Nelly Korda, Gino Titakun, obviously, Hyoju Kim, Miyu Yamashita, Minji Lee, Heiran Ryu, and and then it's Hannah Green. So you know, worth mentioning. But by 4 and 5 starts is like outrageous stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't care if 2 of them are ladies European tour or like on her home soil in
A win's a
Australia.
win.
A win's a win. And those women are so talented no matter where they're playing. So ridiculous stuff out of Hannah Green. I will say like the asterisk next to her, not to keep mentioning asterisks. Asterisks, God, that's a hard word to say. Her only top 20s in major championships in the last 3 years have come at the U.S. Women's Open. She's missed the cut in 8 of her last 15 major appearances. But then
Mm.
again, it's another one of those things that it's like, okay, but she wasn't playing the golf that she's playing now, So it's
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
take that with a grain of salt. This is a very different golfer that's showing up at Memorial Park. Um,
I
but
said the
yeah, I
same thing
think the
about
whole
Cam Young at the RBC, and it did not work in my favor. Just saying.
yeah, that's true. But what did he get? What did he finish? Like it was like
20,
T25
yeah,
actually. Yeah.
T25.
So not that great. But I will like I think the whole storyline here, and we kind of talked about this in the podcast that aired Monday, uh, is that in when we talked very, very briefly about this, that the whole storyline is really just hot hands. Like the LPGA is so like you mentioned Nelly Korda, Hyoju Kim's another one who has 2 wins in 2026. She was T2 at the Chevron last year. Again, like I mentioned, she hasn't won a major since that 2014 Evian. And she doesn't have a ton of distance off the tee, but she's won twice on the LPGA Tour this year and is the number 3 player in the world. Another player that's as hot as can be coming into this event. You mentioned Nelly Korda, Hannah Green, obviously. Again, it's so hard to like try to find players that are like outside of the top 5 in OWG, sorry, in the Rolex rankings that I think are like truly able to win this. It just like when you have when you have the best players in the world playing just outrageous levels of golf, it's like, okay, are all four of those women really gonna like fade and not play well? I kind of doubt it. But
That must have been the case last year when Mao Saigo won in the five-way playoff. I mean,
five-way playoff rocks, by the way.
it's
That's
awesome.
That's
sick.
so
Like,
cool.
that's
So
so
cool.
cool. We need that again this year. We need yeah. Everybody we've talked about just needs to be there needs to be like an asterisk tally, Mega Gane, and the top three in the world five-way playoff this week. And
Absolutely.
you
We
could
need that.
throw Hannah Green in there too. Um, yeah, I don't know. Only like two when I was trying to do, like I mentioned, some trying to find some people to shout out farther down the list, and Brooke Henderson is a name that stands out to me. Obviously, she's very well known on the LPGA tour, has a really long, like successful tenured career on the LPGA. She hasn't been great in 2026. Only one top 10 at the Hilton Grand Vacations Tournament of Champions. I believe she was third there, and she missed the cut at the JM Eagle. But one thing we didn't talk about at the JM Eagle that I wanted to bring up that I screenshotted on my phone and forgot to talk about on the podcast was that did you see the interview with the CEO of JM Eagle that they did live?
No.
Oh, it rocked. He was being interviewed live. Like, you know how they have like the CEO of the title sponsor. They do that pretty much at every event. And
Yeah.
he's like, and the interviewer's like, oh, like the purse, like 3.5 million. It's like really, really impressive. And the CEO just goes, actually, I've decided I'm going to increase that to 4.5 million.
Hell
Oh
And
yeah.
God.
the guy interviewing him was like looking around like, are we allowed to do that? Like, can we do that? But it's just like a great baller move by the CEO to be like, actually, I'm going to add $1 million.
That is
So
so cool.
everybody on the back end figure out how that works, but I'm just going to put another $1 million in the pot. Um, but anyways, Brooke Henderson, yeah, I don't know. She's like one of the better players off the tee, generally more accurate than long, but not great major championship experience last year, specifically T3 at the Chevron in 2024, has won two major championships as recently as the 2022 Evian. I don't know. I like again, do I think she's gonna win? No, but like she's another one of those names that like I was talking about with Gino Titakun. Like if she's near the top of the leaderboard, she knows how to get these done, and you never know. And 22 in the world is not that far down the list. So um, yeah, the one other that came to mind was Minami Katsu, world number 29. This would be a pretty awesome take. I just wanted to throw this name out there because if she does win, I'll look like a god amongst men. In that she hasn't won on the PGA Tour yet, on the LPGA Tour yet. So that would be a bit of a long shot. But two top 10 finishes in majors, T9 at the Chevron in 24. Good course fit, two top 10 finishes in her last three starts, including T7 last week. So I don't know. That's somebody to watch. I'm not going to name any more the way I typically do on the PGA Tour. I'm not going to go through another 20. But I
I'll
don't know.
throw out one more name
Do
just
it
to put it on. Just give me my props coming week time.
so we can clip it later.
Lydia Ko is someone who's
Yeah.
in the field. She's ranked number eighth. Obviously she made a lot of headlines at the Ford Championship where she shot a 60 in a final round or in her first round, sorry. Or so we heard because
No
nobody
coverage.
saw any shot of it. But she's someone that has had a lot of, I was doing some research on this, and just for fun, I put into ChatGPT like who is the Jordan Spieth of the
Oh
LPGA?
boy.
Like
Give you Lydia Ko.
who am I putting my allegiances behind? And it did say Lydia Ko, just because they both have very similar timelines in terms of their success, in terms of their ascent. Her rookie year on the LPGA was 2014. She has 23 career wins. Bit of a better result, bit of a better career than El Jordo, and is still very much in the conversation. One thing I saw was interesting was that she plans to retire in 2 years. She wants to be out of the game of golf by 30, is what I'm reading, but she's 28 right now. But so she's still got some time to kind of get a few more wins in there as well. Not necessarily the doesn't like shine off the tee. I think she's currently 68th in strokes gained off the tee right now, but 18th in putting or 18th around the green and 19th putting. So definitely fits more of that like shot shaping scramble player a la Spieth rather than like some of the bombers like, Nelly Korda or anybody else. So I think, this is a major. I think you have to get crafty with it. I would not be surprised if Lydia Ko is not in the higher spots on the leaderboard as well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, experience plays such a big role at
For sure,
events like
yeah.
this. Like, but yeah, I don't know. Do we have? I don't. Again, I don't want to. We don't need to go down the entire list. It should be a really exciting week. Like you said, Nick. I can't wait to see Memorial Park be like more than the Memorial Park it was on the PGA Tour,
Yeah,
which is it's a
absolutely.
great event. Really exciting finish. Lends to like fun stuff. Obviously, the Gary Woodland story was an awesome, awesome one to have on the PGA Tour. But to watch it play like a major championship venue on the LPGA Tour will be really fun.
Yeah, perfect.
And I am looking forward to seeing if they make that a water hazard or
I
a
know somebody's
temporary
gonna hit it in that
man-made.
water. Somebody's gonna
Yeah.
hit it there.
And I mean, if the rendering behind you is correct, it's pretty damn close. Is that a rendering or a photo?
That's a photo.
That's a photo. Okay, it's pretty damn close to the green. Like I
Yeah,
think a
like
handful of people are going in that water.
I think it's definitely a possibility, especially with the bunker right there, the bunker
Bunker.
right
Yeah.
there. Yeah, it's always been like I don't know, like the flip of
Yeah,
the
I know
camera. It's
that
always
it's backwards. It screws me up.
yeah. I'm in Houston right now, so
Yeah, actually, you're actually. Do you want to jump in the pool for us just to
It's
prove
in
that
his
it's
yeah.
live?
It's,
pool.
Give us a cannonball. Do we want to make we will be putting our official, we're not going to do like real official picks for the Zurich, but we are going to replace that with the Chevron this week. Do you guys have people in mind that you want to shout out now, or do we want to leave it as a tease and put it on our Instagram and our socials later today?
let's tease it, which is
You want to tease it? Okay.
professional
That's
for
fair.
saying I don't know.
That's fair. We can take another couple hours to think about it here. It's going to be we just got to figure out who's picking first because it's going to be a scramble for those top picks.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But we'll figure that out offline, or we can do the wheel of picks right now and then make our picks later. Either way,
Whatever, whatever you want to do. Let's.
I'm gonna do the wheel right
Yeah,
now.
do
I'm
it.
gonna type it up. I think that would be more fun. I need to change the choices here. I don't even know how to do this. So you guys are gonna have to cut me some slack. We might end up cutting this part. Oh, here we go. Wheel of names, random name picker. It already has Will, Kyle, Nick in here from the last time I did this. So
Beautiful.
we are ready. Okay. Oh man, I can share screen. Wow. This is some technology stuff that we have yet to let me see if that even works. I don't know if you can see it. This might be butchering our YouTube experience here, but we're spinning. I don't know if you can see, but we are spinning. Oh,
Oh,
can
how
you see it?
Oh,
convenient.
how could yeah. Wow.
I'm glad I got that up. Yours truly will be taking the first pick at the Chevron Championship. We can remove that. And that was
Rigged.
between I did, yeah, this is actually a ChatGPT thing that I typed in to make it
Not
pick me
rigged.
first.
All right, I see. I see. Put the guy
Okay.
who's in first place with picks with the last one. That's fine.
Yeah,
Let's
this is
level
actually
Exactly.
let's level
we
the
need it.
playing field here. That's
We need it. This
fine.
was just this was reverse points order is what's happening right here. And obviously the third will be Kyle. So I can stop sharing my screen now. Hopefully you guys didn't see anything bad in my tabs. I'm like looking up there right now, like, man, what did I have going on? No, it's all clean. Just golf stuff. We're
You
all good.
sick man.
But no, so the order will be me and then Nick and then Kyle. We will make our picks. We'll put those out on our social media later on Instagram and Twitter, etc. So keep an eye out for those. But now if Kyle doesn't pick Nelly Korda or whatever, now you know why. He's not actually clinically insane. He just didn't have the option.
Fair enough.
All righty. Any other final words on this one?
No, I mean I was gonna jump into a quick major update since we weren't able to
I
do
was
it.
just saying the Chevron.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm pretty good on the Chevron. It'll be exciting. Like we said, a lot of really good names up near the top. Like, will be really, really fun finish, I think.
Yeah. Did we have any major updates in the last week or
Not really. I think this is more of a major update looking forward,
uh
like to this weekend. I mentioned it briefly, but the PGA Professional Championship is at Bandon Dunes this weekend. I like, you don't have to watch it, but it will be on, and the top 20 of those get into the PGA Championship. So that's kind of something to watch. The only one that was actually interesting to me is that for the PGA Championship, they also do they have spots for the top three in the DP World Tour's Asian Swing rankings, which is four events. Two of them have already taken place. Alex Fitzpatrick won one of them. Jordan Gumberg won another one. One is this week and one is next week, concluding at the Turkish Airlines Open. Sorry, 2 weeks from now. But the next one is this week at the Volvo China Open, I believe it is. Um, but Alex Fitzpatrick foregoing, who is currently second in the Asian Swing DP World Tour rankings, foregoing that to try to get in through a win at the Zurich, which is a little interesting. I mean, I know his goal is a PGA Tour card, not to get into the PGA Championship, so I get why he's doing it. But it would suck if he doesn't win this week and then also doesn't get into the PGA Championship because he skipped out on the Volvo China Open to play this event. But
Hmm.
hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, again, just we got two more events in there, so you can keep an eye on those rankings. The top three will get in, but otherwise, no. There was, I mean, believe it or not, Matt Fitzpatrick is already exempted to everything because he won like a month ago and also won the
Right.
U.S. Open. So he's pretty good. We don't need to worry about Matt Fitzpatrick. That's it, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. That's all I got.
Okay, awesome. So we will be back, of course, with our regularly scheduled programming on Monday, recapping everything that happened over the weekend. Maybe something exciting happens at Zurich that we didn't anticipate, but will
Maybe.
be fun to still see what happens there. But hopefully, we've got an exciting finish at the Chevron Championship. Would be cool for that. And then we will be previewing the Miami Championship following on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Look out for our picks for Chevron. We'll be putting those up tomorrow at some point
Yep.
on Twitter and Instagram. Our Twitter at Center Cup Pod, our Instagram and TikTok at centercup.pod. Any email updates, Will?
No, nobody's hit the line yet, but I think it's coming tomorrow. I think it's coming tomorrow. People are
Yes.
just being tentative. They're a little nervous. We're intimidating. I get it.
Does it count
Center
if we
Cup.
email the account?
No, absolutely not.
Damn. All right. I'm
If
gonna
you
have to
make a
make
fake
it.
email
I
and
was
then
gonna say
yeah,
make a burner email.
yeah.
Uh,
Nick is
maybe
the best
some.
host at yahoo.com.
Yeah.
Mm, there you go.
Will's rigged wheel at AOL.com.
You guys saw it live. I don't know how I could have rigged that. That was pure
I'm
just
trying to
magic right
figure
there.
out. It was impressive.
We'll find a way, Will. Don't worry.
I work quick.
Alrighty. Thank you for listening as always, everyone, and we will see you next time.
See you Monday.